Well, a Portland musician is at the center of controversy after an event was canceled by a local record store. And the reason? The album was made entirely with AI. John Adams has the story.
A listening session for Portland artist Brandon Carmody's new album was supposed to take place here at Music Millennium on Monday, but the event was abruptly canceled due to widespread pushback to the album.
Carmody used an AI program called Suno to make the album, which was titled AI. The album is meant to be a wider conversation about our society's use of artificial intelligence. He tells us the tracks were created using a series of prompts to create its rock sound.
This is the first record that I made completely from prompts, without playing the keyboard, and that's also terrifying to me.
Music Millennium owner Terry Courier said he received complaints from employees and the wider music community about the listening session, leading to his decision to cancel the event.
There's a lot of musicians out there worried about AI, and they've got valid reasons to be worried.
Though disappointed, Carmody has no hard feelings.
Kudos to Music Millennium, they made the right call.
And says the blowback is an opportunity for a wider conversation about the use of AI in music.
There is a conversation to be had here. They're raising moral and ethical issues about traditional musicians versus AI, and I have to respect that. I have to maybe take this moment to enter into an honest discussion.
Despite the controversy, Carmody is doubling down and is set to release another album of AI-created songs this weekend.
Some people are going to look at AI as a great tool for their music, and other people are going to scoff at it.
Courier believes AI usage in the music industry isn't going away at this point in time, but hopes this leads to a resurgence in live music.
This wasn't created by a computer. These people are playing, and this is their talents.
In Portland, John Adams, KGW News.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Brandon Carmody. I want to welcome my viewers in the United States and around the world. Thank you very much for being here. This is my album, AI, which is at the center of the controversy, as you just saw that from KGW News. I want to thank them for doing that story. I was very glad to get my statement on the record there. My special guest today is Chris McKay. Chris is a Atlanta-based singer-songwriter known for his work with Critical Darlings, the Everywin, and Q-Sign. Chris, so happy to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you for asking me.
So I wanted to ask you, how did you first become aware of my my situation with the Music Millennium event cancellation? How did my debacle land on your radar, sir?
Randomly through Facebook, it just came up in my feed, and I saw people absurdly making attacks that were just strangely vicious for something that they hadn't even heard or experienced. And I thought it was ironic that they were just repeating what they'd been prompted to say by other people, considering that their problem was apparently with prompting, because none of them actually knew from experience what they were talking about, it seemed. And that disturbs me as somebody that actually does respect artists and creative people, that anyone would just immediately jump to prejudiced conclusions. And it is prejudice. It's flat out prejudice. If you're not hearing it and you're already judging it, that is the definition of prejudice. You know? So what bothered me was the level of vitriol. It was hate.
Yeah. You're using very kind words for television. I have had some much more direct, private, offline adjectives for the attack, but I felt like John Dillinger coming out of the movie theater with his wife. That was a great movie. What did you think, dear? And then just the Tommy guns just literally shooting us down and the popcorn flying everywhere. Like, it felt like a turkey shoot, and I was the turkey, Chris.
Yeah, and frankly, you got screwed.
Yeah,
it's that simple.
folks. On that note, I'm out $5,000 in record and CD sales from the cancellation. This really hurt. Chris is right. This really, really hurt the bottom line. It was an unfair attack, wasn't it?
Guess what? Those people hurt musicians, because they're talking about AI hurting musicians. You are a musician. You can play music. You can perform music. You have done it, as I have for many years. We're simply experimenting with some new tools to create and how we're inspired to create. And you were hurt by the people complaining about what you're doing hurting musicians. So they hurt musicians.
Now, I spent 2 months getting ready for the show. As you can see, I had a plaque made up here with the, kind of the gold record effect.
Right.
Posters, CDs, the whole deal. People were going to get a USB drive with every CD sale at the purchase that was going to have 3 albums. That's right. You know what you guys missed? You missed getting 3 albums for the price of one. But I just want to take a moment and put a human face on our work, sir. So I want to just tell the folks about my work, and then I want to ask about you. I started writing songs when I was 12 years old. I grew up with a choir director father from Southern Oregon, and all I asked him to do was just show me on the keyboard, middle C, where everything is, and I took it from there. And I started writing songs, and I showed Chris the keyboard earlier. It was recorded on a Yamaha keyboard. So age 12, 13, and 14, all of the years from 1986 till now, I've been playing real music, real songs, real instruments, recording it in studios the way you musicians, am I talking to you musicians, always have, until last year. I started to try generative AI, and I took these unfinished songs from when I was 12 years old, put them into Suno, into the software, and I took unfinished songs from when I was 12 years old, and I turned them into magic. That is not me being one of the Gen Z people that just invented music out of nowhere. I wrote every single song on that first album that I put out at Christmas. So it's a new experiment for me, but I've been a 40-year long real musician. I am a musician. Chris, take it away. What is your story as a musician, sir?
My story as a musician is I don't remember starting to play because my grandmother was a Southern gospel singer. She stopped touring and everything to raise my father, but she still played at churches and things in South Carolina when I was growing up, and she basically raised me. So my earliest memories are literally sitting around with family in South Carolina. Like you see, like think about the Dillards or whatever on the Andy Griffith show with the Darlings. You know? It wasn't that far from that, where the family would be sitting around with the guitars just singing and playing Southern gospel stuff, and I would be sitting there with my grandmother's guitar, which was behind me, which I inherited, which I learned to play on, they would give me the guitar to hold it even though I couldn't play it, and that's the way it started, singing harmony with them and learning like that, so I don't remember learning. I've been playing in some form or another for the entire length of my memory. It was just I suddenly, gradually over time learned how to do it intentionally as opposed to it just being like part of the air.
Does the timeline kind of run congruent like mine? Like I'm tracking a 40-year career here from 1986 to 2026. Are you about in that same timeline, maybe
I'm
earlier than
50 I'm
86?
56. I'm 56 years old, so, I was born in 1969. So we're
Okay.
talking about
So you got me beat. You
1975.
got me beat by a few years, yeah.
Yeah, and I've been producing records in studios since, 1990.
So audience, I just want the audience to take a moment and lock onto that. Real musician. My guest, Chris, is a real musician. So let's transition into why did you start generative AI? You have a very specific and a very urgent reason why you started
Well,
generative AI.
yeah, I think this is an important thing to hear for people that just automatically condemn in a prejudiced way because they've been told that they should. The thing for me is I have serious health issues. I have a condition called vascular Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is considered terminal, basically. See, this right here, that's in case I suddenly keel over during the interview and have to call for help. Um, so basically, I'm years past the average lifespan. The one good thing about it is most people with the condition look younger than their age. Frankly, I'd rather look like the crypt keeper. But but the bottom line is this. Um, I had a cerebellar stroke in my 30s, managed to go right back on the road and playing and being a syndicated photographer after that. Very high demand lifestyle, to say the least. In 2017, I was in a car wreck that, because of my vascular condition, caused a vertebral artery dissection, which is basically the inside flap of the vertebral artery, like ripping from the inside instead of tearing all the way through, which blocked 50% of the blood supply to my brain on this side. Um, Wound up in the ICU after time. They missed it at first. So uh, that took me out of the ability to tour. I couldn't tour
Absolutely.
anymore. I could
Absolutely.
play. I could sit in. I played on the rooftop here at Walk Street in Athens when Mickey Dolenz was covering REM, and we did some Monkey songs, and Peter Buck from REM came and sang with us, which was awesome to be able to come back to at least show up for something like that. But I can't tour
Your
normally.
touring days are over, Chris.
Oh, yeah. I wish I could have some hope left in that. I had a certain level, my last bands would do 3-hour shows every night, and I was in the center of the stage usually, and as I always said, I was a full contact performer. So it's not yeah, go through and find some photos, you'll see what I mean. It's not something that I could do again. The last show I did was in September. I did a brief thing where I didn't tell anybody I was gonna perform, but I showed up at the end of an event that I was helping to sponsor about musicians and artists, using art to survive trauma. So I did a little half-hour original set at the end of that, but I haven't been able to and I had to sit,
Yeah.
acoustically
Yeah.
doing it, but I could do it, as long as I can't plan it. But you can't plan out dates and say I'll be there in 6 months. I can't say that I'm gonna be at some place with a couple of thousand or a couple 100 people and not be there. So I can't tour. I'm doing what I can, but in 2024, to answer your question specifically, in 2024, I had to have what should have been a routine surgery, basically just gallbladder removal. For me, with my condition, though, that's extremely dangerous for multiple reasons. With vascular EDS, we tear because our vascular system doesn't work right. So, um, there were complications. Most people get their gallbladder removed and come home. I was in the hospital for 8 days, and my body doesn't like, you can't morphine doesn't work for me.
Oh
Opioids don't
gosh.
work. It's a weird
Oh my
it's a weird
gosh.
side effect. So it's a lot of pain. It hurts all the time, but
They couldn't give you any
I think
alternative?
there aren't really any.
Oh my god.
I mean, they tried at first, and at first I was like, "I'm not gonna take any painkillers because they don't work," and they finally convinced me because the pain was so bad, "Here, have some morphine." And I'd always turned it down because I knew it didn't work, and they finally gave it to me, and literally all that it did was make me throw up and be in pain. So they gave me another dose, same thing. But it's like, "No, it does nothing." It's weird,
Wow.
that something works this. So anyway, I was in the hospital for 8 days in excruciating pain, and there were complications in that, I had already been weakened for a few months with issues surrounding my overlying condition, and the breathing tube, when they do surgery, tore my throat up, so I was coughing up blood. I had no voice for months. I certainly couldn't sing.
Oh my god.
All and I did not have the strength at this time to even fret a guitar. Like, I couldn't the most natural thing in the world to me, I couldn't do it. So this was April of 2024. Yeah, I see the little hospital tag still from the most recent one, which was just March when I was in. Um, and then May was just a haze. It was a haze of because your body produces chemicals that are like kind of painkillers to kind of help you survive and dissociate. So for the month of May 2024, I was in this weird, weird haze. And in early June, like June 1st, give or take, I was starting to hear people talk about generative AI online. And I heard a lot of my musician friends basically the tooth gnashing thing, you know, "This is literally the end of the world. This is gonna destroy everything good. They're gonna kill us all."
Deal with
Like,
Satan, let me guess, deal with Satan, stuff like that?
not even no, it is Satan. Yeah, I mean, it's Satan himself.
Okay.
You're right. It's yeah, I mean, just crazy stuff, and it's like, it's gonna be the end of everything, and on the other hand, I was thinking of my own condition, and I saw a news article about the country star Randy Travis, who was huge in the '80s, and he had a stroke. And as a fellow stroke survivor, I remember seeing it and thinking, "Well, what did he do?" So he had gone into a studio, because he can't sing, and around that time, he had gone in with a singer, and he had produced the band, told him exactly what he wanted, had the band play it exactly what he wanted, and then he coached the singer. "Here's how I want it. Here's what I need. No, change that. Do this, that, the other." This is prompting a human, by the way. Um, and then the singer sang it the way Randy wanted it, but then they took the singer, the live singer's track and ran it through an AI, model of Randy's voice. So when you hear the record, you're hearing Randy Travis sing through AI. For me, that was like, "Oh, that's given hope."